Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between saving and investing and what allocations can be right for you. So, if you're not already, please like and subscribe, and let's jump right into it. So, savings is a fantastic tool. And if you're already listening to this video, you are far ahead of most people your age. If you're under the age of even 45, most people don't plan on retirement or plan for retirement until they are in their 40s and they're a little bit too late, and they'll have to do a lot more than you will have to do if you're younger. So, some of the pros of investing is it has a lot less inherent risk. You're going to put your money in the bank and it's going to be FDIC insured up to 250,000, and it'll be getting a nominal interest rate of a normal savings account that'll get less than 1%, or a high yield account that's going to get somewhere close to 5% right now, as it's middle of July in 2024, where interest rates and high yield savings accounts are fluctuating between 4% and low 5%. The money that is in your savings account is usually accessible right away. Just have to transfer it into a checking account and it's easily withdrawn. And the overall value is not going to fluctuate. If you have $5,000 in savings, you're going to have $5,000 in savings today, tomorrow, and the next day, unless you make a withdrawal. You will have those occasional deposits of nominal interest, but that's not going to be a ton. So the biggest con of a savings account is that it has a very low yield. You're going to be getting that 0.2% or 0.3% unless it's in a high yield savings account. And in most economic times, the federal rate the Federal Reserve interest rate is not going to be as high as it is right now, and you're not always going to be able to get that high 4%, low 5% interest rate in a savings account that is that safe. And that is why I personally believe investing in the stock market and having money in savings is super important. So those are the main things I have for savings. And then for investing, we're going to make the assumption that you are investing in the S&P 500. So this is going to be the ETFs VOO, SPLG, and SPY. They all track the 500 largest companies, and that's the Standard & Poor's 500. So your biggest pro is that the stock market on average has returned 9.9% over the last 30 years. So every $1,000 that you have in the market, you're going to be making about $100 a year, and that's going to compound over time. And that's not even including what you're adding on top of that initial $1,000. Another pro for investing is you become a quote unquote owner rather than just a consumer or customer. You're going to be able to own the shares of the stock, even though it'll be a fractional share when you're investing just in the S&P 500, but you do own something. It'll give you a small dividend yield. Right now, the dividend yield is about 1.4%, but you will be getting that dividend. And then you're also going to be able to have extreme growth where you'll have a 10, 20, or even 30% year in the market, but average it out over time, it will be around 10% as the S&P has performed in the last 30 years. Now, there are a handful of cons when investing in the stock market is there is a lot of volatility. Even though you're diversified across those 500 companies, if you're invested in the S&P 500, there still are times where you'll have a 3 to 10% drop in a single week, and that goes the other way. That can also be a huge pro. If companies are crushing their earnings, you can go up 3, 4, 5% in a single day. Has not happened for a while, but you can go up 5, 6, 7, 8% in a single week, and that's far more than you'd be getting in that savings account. And then it's also not as easy to have access to that money. Some accounts you can have a cash account attached to it where you're able to withdraw, but most brokerages, you'll have to sell the asset and then withdraw it to your bank, which will take 1 to 3 business days, and then it hits your account, and you have the ability to transfer that money and spend it as you need if there is an emergency. So, what's right for you? I think it really depends on where you're at in life, how old you are, and what your overall goals are. So I believe that everyone should have an emergency fund. So if anything happens, if you have car trouble or anything that comes up, you'll be able to take care of it. And you know the money's going to be there. It's not going to be half of what it was when you looked at it last time. And there's just not going to be a whole lot of variability there. I also believe that most people should be invested in the stock market as well, as it's going to yield those higher returns over time. So I think there's a three-step process that I personally went through and will reevaluate here and there. And that is to first identify your short and long-term goals, then assess your risk tolerance, and then allocate your funds according to your risk tolerance, and then come up with that percentage. So if your short-term goal is to buy a house or make a large purchase, such as buying a vehicle that's not from a dealership, you'd want to have more cash on hand than you do investments, so that way you're able to pay that down and not have to pay a crazy interest rate, or you'll be able to purchase it outright. Um, and for your risk tolerance, when you do go to make your investments, if you do have a higher risk tolerance, you will want to be, for the most part, invested into the overall stock market. So the VOO or SPLG or SPY, as I had referenced earlier. And in doing that, um, you can have huge upside and huge downside, but then you also have more or even more risky investments such as QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, which, if you've been following the stock market recently, you'll know that it has been going absolutely crazy. It's returned over 50% this year and has just been going absolutely crazy. And that is a lot riskier for when the market does decide to turn around. And as soon as we start that decline, it is going to be a lot messier than when it was on the way up, because it's all sunshine and rainbows when it goes up, but when it goes down, it's hard to see yourself losing money. Thanks for tuning in today. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to respond to you down in the comments. If you're not subscribed already, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.